seeing anything really interesting. And usually there's kind of meh, if you ask me. Just meh. There we go. Let's see. Okay, let's get back to one. Get all sorted. Again, it's like 66 degrees outside. And in the great state of Kansas. This is something you try that. Now that penny made a good deal on a handful of 1 by 1 inch pins. Multiverse Tonight. And yeah, maybe one or two of you out there would like to contribute to the show. Maybe I'll send one out to you. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Send benefits. Anyway, let's see here. Okay. It should be good. Not exactly trolling. It's, let's see if they notice. Oh dear God, this Colorado incident. It's all I'm going to discuss here in just a Anyway, let's get the show started here. Let's press record and get episodes 114 and 115 in the can, shall we? Alright, let's go. Tonight, test the Kobayashi Maru. You might have an opinion about Gina Carano. I do not. And remember sci-fi author James Gunn. All that and more on the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight.
Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight, episode 114. It's looking better here in Kansas. The snow's gone. Snow's all melted. There's just a few little bits here and there. It's 66 degrees today. It is nice outside. It is car washing weather right now. Let me start by saying this, and if you don't want to hear my opinion on Gina Carano's firing, skip ahead a few minutes. I'll wait. Okay. Let me just start by saying this. I really don't care about Gina Carano's firing. There, I said it. She opened her mouth, she inserted her foot, and got fired for it. Plain and simple. Wasn't cancel culture. She wasn't canceled by liberals. She made a bad judgment call. Working at any kind of corporation, I work for a corporation myself. If I said something that stupid and they felt that it reflected badly on them, they would be in their rights to fire me. That's just the way corporate America works. We can all say boo and all that, but that's all we can hope for now is that she learns from what she's done, she grows from it, and we can just wish her well in her future endeavors. There. If any of you have skipped, here's the part where we come back, and we're back. Okay, it's a lovely day outside. Go outside and play. Spring is looking like it's here, and I don't see much snow in the forecast. Looks like maybe a bit rain. We're getting injections in people's arms. Things are getting better. The death toll is still atrocious. We're getting it to 500,000, but there's not much can be done about that. But let's get away from being depressed here and get on with the sci-fi news, starting with Star Trek. And we start Star Trek news with the classic no-win scenario, the Kobayashi Maru, now in a brand new browser-based game from Scopely. Star Trek Kobayashi Maru lets players play the ultimate test of life and life and death for Starfleet cadets. Scopely says that the game is supposed to be unbeatable, and they've released a trailer with George Takei warning fans not to bother trying to beat it. Now, Scopely claims that the odds of beating the game are 1 in 10,000, and adds an incentive. The 3 fastest players to defeat the simulation will win prizes like a Paramount Plus lifetime subscription and some limited edition Star Trek collectibles. You can find the game at KobayashiMaru.com. So, what happened to Michael Burnham during the years he waited back to answers now in a brand new in-universe novel. Star Trek Discovery Wonderlands from author Una McCormick will follow Burnham's adventures with book. Here's a synopsis, quote, in a desperate attempt to prevent the artificial intelligence known as Control from seizing crucial information that could destroy all sentient life, Commander Michael Burnham dons a red-angel time travel suit and guides the USS Discovery into the future and out of harm's way. But something has gone terribly wrong, and Burnham has somehow arrived in a place far different than anything she could have imagined. More than 900 years out of her time, with Discovery nowhere to be found, and where the mysterious and cataclysmic event known as the Burn has utterly decimated Starfleet, and with it, the United Federation of Planets. How then can she possibly just stay the day in this strange place? What worlds are out there waiting to be discovered? Will any remnants of Starfleet and the Federation possibly endure? With more questions than answers, Burnham must nevertheless forge new relationships and new alliances if she hopes to survive this future long enough for the Discovery crew to find her. Unquote. The book will be out on May 18th, and while we're talking about Star Trek books, another book coming out this August will be a prequel novel for Star Trek Picard's Captain Cristobal Rios. Star Trek Picard, World Elements by John Jackson Miller, is the story of Rios' life after he left Starfleet. Here's a synopsis. Starfleet was everything for Cristobal Rios until one horrible, inexplicable day when it all went wrong. Aimless and adrift, he grasped at a chance for a future as an independent freighter captain in an area betrayed by the Federation, the border region with the former Romulan Empire. His greatest desire? To be left alone. What solitude is in the cards of the captain of La Serena, who falls into debt to a roving gang of hoodlums from a planet whose society is based on Prohibition-era Earth. Teamed against his will with Ledger, his conniving overseer, Rios begins an odyssey that brings him into conflict with outlaws and fortune seekers, with power brokers and relic hunters across the stars. Exotic loves and locales await, as well as dangers galore, and Rios learns the hard way that good crew members are hard to find, even when you can create your own. And while his meeting with Jean-Luc Picard is years away, Rios finds himself drawn on the Starfleet Legends experiences when he discovers a mystery that began in one of the galaxy's most important days. Unquote. Now, Jackson has described the book as his quarantine novel, tweeting, quote, I specifically asked both to write about Rios and also to write about that would be fun, something readers could really look forward to and would enjoy, unquote. The book will be out on August 17th. And another Star Trek book. Sorry, folks, there's just not a lot of other Star Trek news to talk about right now. The other Star Trek novel in the offing is Star Trek The Next Generation Shadows Have Offended by new Star Trek novelist Cassandra Rose Clark. The book takes place during the series' 7th season. Here's a synopsis, quote, the USS Enterprise has been granted the simple but unavoidable honor of ferrying key guests to Beta Z for a cultural ceremony. En route, sudden tragedy strikes a Federation space station on an isolated planet, Coda, and Captain Picard has no problem sending William Riker, Data, and Chief Medical Officer Beverly Crusher to investigate. But what began as a routine assignment for the two parties soon descends into chaos. Picard, Worf, and the Anatomists grapple with a dangerous diplomatic crisis as historic artifacts are stolen in the middle of a high-profile ceremony. While nothing is as it seems on Coda, a mounting medical emergency coupled with the science station's failing technology and no hope of rescue, has Dr. Crusher wasting its time to solve a disturbing mystery threatening the lives of all her colleagues. Unquote. That novel will hit store shelves on July 13th. And that ends the Star Trek news for today. Let's see if Star Wars has more news for us.
Roger, roger.
Roger indeed. As I mentioned at the top of the show, is part about Gina Carano, so again, if this sets you off, just advance a couple of minutes and pass it. The Mandalorian actress Gina Carano and Disney have cut ties after the actress made controversial remarks. The actress shared some controversial and anti-Semitic posts on her social media. Now, in a statement, Lucasfilm said, quote, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable, unquote. Now, the fallout from this has included her being dropped by the talent agency UTA and the cancellation of the Cara Dune action figure. Now, fans have suggested that WWE Sonya Deville or maybe Lucy Lawless should take up the part. Um, Personally, I think it's much more likely that they just kill off the character or just, not use her anymore. She's lost somewhere. Anyway, could Darth Maul be making a live-action comeback soon? Now, the villain, who was last seen at the end of Solo, a Star Wars story, hasn't been seen in live-action since. However, recently, Maul actor Ray Park posted a picture of Maul's headpiece with the caption, quote, "Meet me on Dathmar, Sith life," unquote. So, could the villain have a comeback coming, say, on The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan Kenobi? No one knows for sure, but we'll keep an eye out for it. The Nintendo Switch will be getting a new free-to-play squad-based Star Wars game. Now, Star Wars Hunters was announced at the first Nintendo Direct presentation in over a year. Now, not much was revealed about the game, but it was established that it will exist in the time between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And that brings us to the end of Star Wars news. And we begin the geek news today with Ghostbusters Afterlife, which has been given an official rating by the Motion Picture Association of America. That rating is PG-13. Not much of a shock there. Now, it earned the rating for, quote, supernatural action and suggestive material, unquote. The movie is due out on November 11th. Zack Snyder's Netflix movie, Army of the Dead, has a release date, May 21st. Now, Army of the Dead follows the aftermath of a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, and the group of mercenaries who venture into the quarantine zone to pull off a big heist. The pick has an all-star international cast, including Dave Bautista, Ella Purnell, Ana de la Regaya, Theo Rossi, Huma Corsi, Omari Hardwick, Tig Notaro, Hiroki Sanada, Garrett Delahunt, Matthias Salzburger, Raul Castillo, Noah Arnizeder, and Samantha Wynn. Now, have you ever wanted to stay over at Buffalo Bill's house in the movie Silence of the Lamb? Well, you're in luck. The house that was Buffalo Bill's in the movie can be your next sleepover, as the current owners have started to turn it into a sort of bed and breakfast. The house, located in Perryopolis, Pennsylvania, has a website, buffalobillshouse.com, where you can book guided tours, special events, and weddings, and sign up to stay overnight, although it doesn't list how much that will cost. Perryopolis, by the way, is in the Pittsburgh metro area. It's a small town of about 1,700 people. Edgar Wright has signed on to direct a new adaptation of Stephen King's The Running Man for Paramount Pictures. The novel follows a man who attempts to win a reality show where the only objective is to stay alive. The novel was famously adapted into a movie of the same name starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and TV show host/actor Richard Dawson. Michael Bacall has been tapped to pen the screenplay. I'll be back. Who loves you? And who do you love? I love it. I love that movie. It's a great old sci-fi movie. Now we close out with some sad news. A sci-fi author and editor, James E. Gunn, has passed away in New Orleans, Kansas on December 23rd. His death was announced by the University of Kansas, where he taught, and there founded the Gunn Center for the Study of Science Fiction. Gunn's best-known work was The Immortals, which was adapted into an ABC movie called The Immortal in 1969 and later a short-lived TV series. Now, no one of his novels, to listeners, was called by Carl Sagan, quote, one of the very best fictional portrayals of contact with extraterrestrial intelligence ever written, unquote. Now, overall, Gunn has edited 10 anthologies and wrote 30 books and 100 short stories, and was honored in 2007 as a Grand Master of the Science Fiction Writers and Fantasy Writers of America, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. He also won a Hugo Award for his study, Isaac Asimov, The Foundations of Science Fiction. He is survived by his son, Kevin. Twitter at multiverse.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money to the show, check out the show notes. Visit our TeePublic store and so much more. Just head over to the brand new multiversetonight.com. And if you would like, if you're a subscriber to the show, share it with your friends. I mean, don't keep me a secret. And if you're brand new to the show, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe, leave some feedback, let me know how we're doing. Now, special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. Now, we'll be back in just 2 days with a brand new comic book edition and 2 weeks with a new sci-fi edition. Now, please, exit the universe in no orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Dr. Young Productions. Copyright 2021. All rights reserved. One time that was, pretty quick, 15-minute episode. That's quicker than I would prefer. I prefer I think 20, between 20 and 30 minutes is kind of a sweet spot for podcasts. But 15 minutes is good. 15 minutes, 15 minutes is a nice little walk for anyone. So, 50 of one, half a dozen of the other. Let me take some real quick. Well, and another reason why it was such a short, episode was I've been sans laptop at work for a few weeks now. The laptop I had, which I've only had for a few months, the USB port went out, making it basically unusable, if you will. Let me check on real quick. Yeah, the USB port went out, and so I had to send it in because it was still under warranty. So, needless to say, right now it's in shop. They can't fix it because they have parts, so they're sending me a refurbished laptop, a newer one. So, that's again a bit of an upgrade. So, it all works out in the end. Let me check something out. Let me entertain you. testing. No, that's gotta be something else to program.
Testing, testing. That did it. Alright, I know that the audio is fixed. And I had cable out. Let me check the recording of that episode I just did. See how bad, if it went straight to the recording. If it did, then I'm just gonna have to re-record. Yep. All right, we're gonna have to re-record episode the first one again. All right. This is why you always check, by the way. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm going to be a little paranoid here for a second. A little paranoia does help at times. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves. There it is. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well. Tonight, test the Kobayashi Maru. You might have an opinion about Gina Carano, and we remember sci-fi author James Gunn. All that and more on the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight, episode 114. Now, it's a nice day outside. It's, in the upper 60s, or at lower 60s at least, mid-60s. The snow has stopped, has all melted away. It's a nice time. But unfortunately, there's unpleasant things that go on in the world. One of those is the firing of Gina Carano, and for those of you who haven't, you you think she was wrongly fired, skip ahead a couple of minutes. This won't bother you. For those of you who don't care like me, I'm going to save my piece here, and then we're going to go right into it. I don't care about Gina Carano's firing. It's not a thing to me. She opened her mouth, she inserted her foot, and got fired for it. Plain and simple. It wasn't cancel culture. She wasn't canceled by liberals. She made a bad judgment call. I myself work for a multinational corporation, and I know that there's a social media policy. And one of those things is pretty much comes down to, if you embarrass the company, they have the right to fire you. So choose your words wisely. Don't go equating one thing with another, and just really just doing that, because they pretty much nowadays have no choice but to say, yeah, see ya. Anyway, all we can do is hope that she learns from the mistake, she grows from it, and we wish her well in her future endeavors. And all right, we're back. Again, it's a nice day. It's a cozy 60 degrees outside. Good car washing weather. I just got a raise at work, a little raise at work. If you've been looking at the company that I work for, it begins with a W, ends in a T. And see that they're raising wages. They're not raising my wage. It's the guys in the back that they're now giving pay wages to. So I figure in 6 months they'll probably get to my group. But c'est la vie. I can't really say much about that. See how easy it was. I didn't denigrate my company. I didn't denigrate other people. I just stated an obvious fact. Let's go with Star Trek news. Now, we begin the Star Trek news with the classic no-win scenario. Now, you can play it in a brand new browser game from Scopely. Star Trek Kobayashi Maru lets players play the ultimate test and life lesson for Starfleet cadets. Scopely says that the game is unbeatable, and they even released a trailer with George Takei warning fans not to bother trying to beat it. However, Scopely claims that the odds of beating it are 1 in 1,000, and to add some incentive for you to try, they're running a contest. The three fastest players to defeat the simulation will win prizes like a lifetime subscription to Paramount Plus and some other limited edition Star Trek collectibles. You can find the game over at KobayashiMaru.com. So the next 3 stories will be for you book lovers out there. And we start with our first book. What happened to Michael Burnham during that year she waited for Discovery to show up? We'll get some answers in a brand new novel. Star Trek Discovery Wonderlands from author Una McCormack will follow Burnham's adventures with Book. Now here's the synopsis, quote, "In a desperate attempt to prevent the artificial intelligence known as Control from seizing crucial information that could destroy all sentient life, Commander Michael Burnham donned the Red Angel time travel suit and guided the USS Discovery into the future and out of harm's way. But something has gone terribly wrong, and Burnham has somehow arrived at a place far different from anything she could have imagined. More than 900 years out of her time, with Discovery nowhere to be found, and where the mysterious and cataclysmic event known as the Burn has utterly decimated Starfleet, and with it, the United Federation of Planets. How then can she possibly exist day to day in this strange place? What worlds are out there waiting to be discovered? Do any remnants of Starfleet and the Federation possibly endure? With more questions than answers, Burnham must nevertheless forge new friendships and new alliances if she hopes to survive the future long enough for Discovery to find her." Unquote. The book will be out on May 18th. Our second book will come out this August, and it will be a prequel novel to Star Trek Picard's Captain Cristobal Rios. Star Trek Picard Rogue Elements by John Jackson Miller is the story of Rios' life after he left Starfleet. Here's the synopsis. Starfleet was everything for Cristobal Rios until one horrible, inexplicable day when it all went wrong. Aimless and adrift, he grasped at a chance for a future as an independent freighter captain in an area betrayed by the Federation, the border region with the former Romulan Empire. His greatest desire to be left alone. But solitude isn't in the cards for the captain of La Serena, who falls into debt to a roving gang of hoodlums from a planet whose society is based on Prohibition-era Earth. Teamed against his will with Ledger, his conniving overseer, Rios begins an odyssey that brings him into conflict with outlaws and fortune seekers, with power brokers and relic hunters across the stars. Exotic loves and locales await, as well as dangers galore, and Rios learns the hard way that good crew members are hard to find, even when you can create your own. And while his meeting with Jean-Luc Picard is years away, Rios finds himself drawing on the Starfleet Legends experiences when he discovers a mystery that began on one of the galaxy's most important days. Unquote. Now, Jackson has described the book as his quarantine novel, tweeting, quote, I specifically asked both to write about Rios and also to write a book that would be fun, something readers could really look forward to and would enjoy, unquote. That book will be out on August 17th. And our third and final book in this Star Trek book cavalcade is a new novel called Star Trek The Next Generation Shadows Have Offended by brand new Star Trek novelist Cassandra Rose Clark. The book takes place during the series' 7th season. Oh, here's the synopsis, quote, the USS Enterprise has been granted the simple but unavoidable honor of ferrying key guests to Beta Z for a cultural ceremony. En route, sudden tragedy strikes the Federation space station on the isolated planet Kuda, and Captain Jean-Luc Picard has no qualms about sending William Riker, Data, and Chief Medical Officer Beverly Crusher to investigate. But what begins as routine assignments for the two parties soon descends into chaos. Picard, Worf, and Deanna Troi must grapple with a dangerous diplomatic crisis as historic artifacts are stolen in the middle of a high-profile ceremony. While nothing is as it seems on Coda, a mounting medical emergency, coupled with the science station's failing technology and no hope of rescue, has Dr. Crusher race against time to solve the disturbing mystery threatening the lives of her colleagues, unquote. This novel will be out on July 13th. Yeah, not much in the way of news. Let's hope next time we'll have a lot. Let's go on to the Star Wars news.
Roger, Roger.
And we begin Star Trek news with the Gina Carano incident. And the actress, Gina, and Disney have cut ties after the actress made controversial remarks. She shared some controversial and anti-Semitic posts on her social media. In a statement, Lucasfilm said, quote, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable, unquote. Now, the fallout from this is Gina Carano has been dropped by her talent agency, UTA, and the cartoon action figure has been canceled. Now, some fans online have suggested that maybe WWE's Sonya Deville or actress Lucy Lawless should take over the part, but I think more than likely they'll just kill off the character. We'll see. Could Darth Maul be making a live-action comeback soon? Now, the villain, who hasn't been seen since the end of Solo, a Star Wars story, hasn't been seen in live action since. However, recently, Maul actor Ray Park posted a picture of Maul's headpiece with the caption, quote, "Meet me on Dathomir, Sith life," unquote. Now, could this mean that the villain will be making a comeback, say, on The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan Kenobi? No one knows for sure, but we'll keep an eye out for it. Time will tell. The Nintendo Switch will be getting a new free-to-play squad-based Star Wars game. Star Wars Hunters was announced at the first Nintendo Direct presentation in over a year. Now, not much was revealed about the game, but it was established that it will exist in the time between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And that brings us to the end of the Star Wars news. Let's go on to the geek news. Now, we begin the geek news today With Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's been officially given a rating by the Motion Picture Association of America of PG-13. Not much of a real shock there. Now, it earned that rating for, quote, supernatural action and suggestive material, unquote. The movie is due out on November 11th. Zack Snyder's Netflix movie, Army of the Dead, has a release date, May 21st. Army of the Dead follows the aftermath of a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas and the group of mercenaries who venture into the quarantine zone to pull off a big heist. The pick has an all-star international cast including Dave Bautista, Ella Purnell, Anna de la Reguera, Theo Rossi, Huma Qureshi, Omari Hardwick, Tig Notaro, Haruki Sanada, Garrett Dillahunt, Matthias Schwaffager, Raul Castillo, Nora Arne-Zeller, and Samantha Wynn. Would you like to stay over at the house that the Silence of the Lambs built? The house that was Buffalo Bill's in the movie The Silence of the Lambs can be your next sleepover, as the current owners have turned it into a sort of bed and breakfast. The house, located in Perryopolis, Pennsylvania, has a website at buffalobillshouse.com. That's Buffalo Bill's House, all one word, .com, where you can book guided tours, special events, and weddings, and sign up to stay overnight. Now, although it doesn't list how much that costs, Perryopolis, by the way, is in the Pittsburgh metro area. It's a small town of about 1,700 people. 1699, 1698, 1697. Just kidding. Edgar Wright has signed on to direct a new adaptation of Stephen King's The Running Man for Paramount Pictures. Who loves you and who do you love? The novel follows a man who attempts to win a reality game show where the only objective is to stay alive. Now, the novel was famously adapted into a movie of the same name starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and TV show host and / actor Richard Dawson. Michael Bacall has been tapped to pen the screenplay. I'll be back. And we close out the sci-fi news today with some sad news. Sci-fi author and editor James E. Gunn passed away in Lawrence, Kansas back on December 23rd. His death was announced by the University of Kansas, where he taught and later founded the Gunn Center for the Study of Science Fiction. Now, Gunn's best-known work was The Immortals, which was adapted into an ABC movie called The Immortal in 1969, and later a short-lived TV series. In another one of his novels, The Listeners, was called by Carl Sagan, quote, one of the very best fictional portrayals of contact with extraterrestrial intelligence ever written, unquote. Overall, Gunn edited 10 anthologies and wrote 30 books and 100 short stories, and he was honored in 2007 as a Grand Master of the Science Fiction Writers and Fantasy Writers of America, and was inducted into their Hall of Fame in 2015. He also won a Hugo Award for his study, Isaac Asimov, The Foundations of Science Fiction. He is survived by his son Kevin. And that brings us to the end of the science fiction news. Please be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute to some money or check out some show notes, visit the TeePublic store, and so much more, head over to the brand new MultiverseTonight.com. If you're a subscriber, be sure to share it with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave some feedback, let me know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Now, please, thank you for watching the Sci-Fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just 2 days with a brand new comic book edition and 2 weeks with a brand new Sci-Fi edition. Now, please, exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half-Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2021, all rights reserved. Testing. Alright, that worked. Alright, so get back to this. Although I bet you enjoyed listening to the music in chat. Alright, let's see. Got the. Because I don't want to have to record the second shoot twice. Let's test this again. Klistuba. Tonight, one who say my PewDiePie. This won't bother you. I'm not firing it. It's simple. You Paul, the company. Why just sure well. I just they're not raising my wage, but same my company. I did. Now we begin the Star Trek news. All right. Some days everything works correctly, and other days, you know, the world works on you. Anyway, let's go. Tonight, Wonder Girl is a no-go at the CW. Black Widow will not stream before its time, and the Peanuts universe has unbreakable rules. All that and more on the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 115 of Multiverse Tonight, the comic book edition. I'm your host, Thomas Townley. Well, the cold days are looking to be over. The snow's melted, geese are heading north, and with more and more people getting vaccinated, I look forward to hopefully going back to conventions by July or later this year. To be sure, I've saved a lot of money by not going anywhere. I have jars of change that I've cashed in that the money is just sitting around. But I want to get out there and get that money back into the economy. And what better way is going to a convention? So I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, not much else going on around here. And other than so let's go ahead and get right into some DC Comics news. Now we begin the DC Comic news with Zack Snyder. Now he's confirmed that he is in the finishing stages of the Justice League. Justice is Gray edition, which is the black and white version of his Justice League cut. In that same interview that I just mentioned, he said, quote, "I'd like to shoot a black and white movie at some point. We're finishing right now the black and white version of Justice League, and it's called the Justice is Gray edition. That's what I call it. Justice League Justice is Gray Edition. It's not black and white, as they say, laughs. But that's the name of the black and white version, unquote. No official word on when the release date for this version will be given. Anyway, Snyder has also revealed what his plan is for the Imax remaster of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, saying on Minuteman, quote, I believe so. Blu-ray 4K. I just approved the Blu-ray box the other day. So for sure will exist on Blu-ray, and then I think it will exist on HBO Max. Look, I have to confirm now, but for sure, we've been talking about the release. It's meant to, especially for the special edition, it's to replace the one that was kind of messed up a little bit. The Blu-ray, I think it was okay. The 4K was messed up. I remember watching it on Apple Movies and wherever it was, or somewhere, and going, what? Wait, that's not correct. The reds were all blocked up. It was really weird, unquote. So there you have it. If you didn't, if you wanted more Zack Snyder's Batman, Superman, and Justice League, well, he's going to give it to you. The possible Wonder Girl series will not be moving forward at the CW. The series, which would have centered on the character of Yara Flor, was announced back in November. Yara is the daughter of an Amazonian and a Brazilian river god, and was going to get her own series as part of DC's Future State event. Writer-producer Danielyn Rodriguez shared on social media, quote, so some sad news. For all those asking, Wonder Girl is not getting picked up at the CW. I was very proud of the script I wrote. Wish I could have shared the world I created, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. Thanks for everyone's enthusiasm. It meant a lot to me, unquote. Well, on one show, when the character is getting a new show, will be Constantine. A new Constantine series is in the works. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that J.J. Abrams will produce a new series for HBO Max, with British novelist Guy Bolton being chosen to pen the pilot script. Right now they're looking for an actor of color to fill the role, so it won't be, your typical, blonde John Constantine. So take it for what it is. Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam is currently in negotiations to cast Marwan Kenzari from the Old Guard in the movie. Now, there's no word on what role that would be, but the film is set to start shooting in Atlanta this April. And while we're on the casting couch, the casting news from the Flash movie has cast Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Now, Calle is best known for her work on the soap opera The Young and the Restless. The Flash is currently due in theaters on November 4th of next year. And that brings us to the end of the DC news. Let's check in what Marvel has to give us. Now, we begin the Marvel news with Marvel Studios' box office record for highest gross in a single day in a single market being broken in China by the movie Detective Chinatown 3. The movie raked in a gross of $397 million in its opening weekend, dwarfing Endgame's North American opening of $357 million back in 2019. Hail to the king, baby. Disney has confirmed that Black Widow will be a theatrical-only release. During Disney's quarterly investor call, Disney CEO Bob Chapek, when asked about the release of Black Widow, said that the plan still remains to open in the film in theaters. However, the release date is still up in the air. It might be noted that I invest in Disney, so I'm going to divest myself from that news. Disney Plus will have more subscriptions than Netflix in 2026, according to an analyst forecast from Digital TV Research. The firm projects that Disney Plus subs will reach 294 million to Netflix's 286 million in 2026. However, Disney Plus will not have more subs than Netflix by country, except in one, India. India will see 98 million Disney Plus Hotstar subscribers versus 13 million for Netflix. The synopsis for the first 2 episodes of Marvel's MODOK has been released. The first 2 episodes of the Hulu stop-motion series will be, quote, "If this be MODOK, supervillain MODOK runs his evil organization, AIM, into the ground and is forced to sell it to the tech company Grumble. As the megalomaniacal MODOK struggles to regain control of AIM, he risks losing something even more important, his family." Written by Jordan Blum and Patton Oswalt, directed by Eric Towner and Alex Kramer. And Episode 2, The MODOK That Time Forgot. In an effort to win back his wife Judy, MODOK takes her traveling through time to a Third Eye Blind concert they missed years ago. They're attacked by the college-age MODOK, who steals the time machine and strands them in the past. Written by Jeff Barbanel and A.T. Grunfeld, directed by Eric Towner and Alex Kramer, unquote. Now, Marvel's MODOK stars Patton Oswalt as MODOK, the organism designed only for killing, and Amy Garcia as Jodie, Ben Schwartz as Lou, Melissa Fumero as Melissa, Wendy McClellan-Covey as Monica Rappaccini, Beck Bennett as Austin Vandersleet, John Daly as Super Adaptoid, and Sam Richardson as Gary. The series does not yet have a release date. Danny Elfman has signed on to score Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, this is, of course, not the first time that the two have worked together. They did Darkman, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and Oz, the Great and Powerful. The MCU Disney Plus series Ms. Marvel has cast relative newcomer L'Oreal Marsden as Zoe Zimmer in the series. In the comic book, Zoe Zimmer is to Kamala Khan what Flash Thompson is to Peter Parker. How's that for an analogy? The series is due out by the end of the year and currently is in production in Atlanta. That takes us out of the Marvel news and into the geek news. The CW has ordered a remake of the USA sci-fi series The 4400 straight to series. Now, the series will be like the original and will feature the mysterious return of 4,400 individuals who disappeared over the past 100 years, only to have been returned not having aged a day with superhuman abilities. CBS Studios is behind the show with Ariana Jackson, Anna Frick, and Laura Terry producing. Also ordered to pilot is a live-action Powerpuff Girls series from Cody and Heather Regnier. The series shows Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup as delusioned 20-somethings who resent their childhoods that were lost fighting crime. Berlanti Productions, Vita Vera Films, and Warner Brothers TV will produce. Regnier, Cody, Greg Berlanti, Sheriff Schechter, and David Madden are signed on to executive produce, and Erica Kinnear will produce. Peter Pan and Wendy has cast Rebecca Hall to play the role of Mrs. Darling, Wendy's mother. She joins Alyssa Hook as Tiger Lily and Jude Law as Captain Hook. South Park will be doing a new follow-up special to last year's South Park Pandemic Special. This time it's the South Park The Vaccination Special. In South Park The Vaccination Special, the residents of South Park are clamoring for the COVID-19 vaccine. A New Milton group attempts to stop the boys from getting their teacher vaccinated. The previous special saw Randy seizing on a growing pot market as he comes to terms with his role in the COVID outbreak. Cartman, still in his pajamas from remote learning, is none too thrilled about being returned to the slavery to school classroom, where teachers seem to have been replaced by cops. Now, this special episode will air on Comedy Central and MTV2 on Wednesday, March 10th at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Apple TV Plus's The Snoopy Show showrunner Mark Evstaff told Collider that the Peanuts universe has rules that each episode must abide by. These rules were created by Peanuts creator Charles Schultz. Now, Evstaff told Collider, quote, "One of them is no adults, which is neat because it forces the kids to solve their own problems. There's also a no parents allowed thing. Another of the rules is that when Snoopy is in his fantasies, you can't see the bottom of the doghouse because of the idea that Snoopy doesn't actually go anywhere. That's a challenge, but also a nice idea to carry through, and we've certainly been faithful to that. And then another one is that you never see in the inside of Snoopy's house, which is a fun conceit for us to play with. He has a pool table in there, he's got a pool, he's got Van Gogh, he's got whatever you need with cartoony logic. Another one is no technology past around 1970s, so you won't see any cell phones and you don't see any computers. The good thing is that these kids are often playing outside, so that never came into play. If you need a cell phone to tell your story, unless it's a great story, I think you can do without that. There's lots of fun to be had, and those are some of the ground rules we played with when we were making the show, unquote. The Snoopy Show is out now on Apple TV+. The Addams Family's Wednesday Addams will be getting her own live-action spin-off at Netflix, according to Variety. The series has been given an 8-episode order and is described as a sleuthing, supernaturally infused mystery charting Wednesday Addams' years as a student at Nevermore Academy. She attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, thwart a monstrous killing spree that has terrorized the local town, and solve the supernatural mystery that embroiled her parents 25 years ago, all while navigating her new and very tangled relationships at Nevermore. The show is being created and showrun and executive produced by Al Gough and Miles Millar. They will be joined by as EPs by Tim Burton, who will also direct. No other details have been given. A third Paddington movie is in the works. Representatives from Studio Canal told Variety, now no details as of yet, except that it will not have Paul King directing. He's currently busy directing Warner Brothers' Wonka, set to be out in March of 2023. Jane Fonda will be playing the role of the dragon in Apple Plus's upcoming animated movie, Luck. Luck comes from Apple and Skydance Animation and stars the dragon, and the exuberant CEO of Good Luck, and luckiest ancient being in all of the land. But when bad luck starts to spin off control, Fonda's character must face her fears or risk losing good luck forever. Rick and Morty writer Alex Rubens revealed on Twitter just how far the writers have gotten on writing the show. He posted, quote, "Am I allowed to say we started writing Rick and Morty Season 7? If not, we didn't, and I'm not," unquote. And that's pretty good. Now, Season 5 of the show hasn't arrived yet, and there's no release date for the season, any season that has been given. Spawn creator and Image president Todd McFarlane has announced his intent to create his own multi-character interconnected comic book universe, the Spawn universe, this year, starting with 4 ongoing series that he'll also launch this year. Todd made the announcement during a first look presentation at the annual Comics Pro conference. Spawn will be the forefront of the initial launch of new titles, but the long-term goal is that Spawn will become just one of many characters. This begins in June with Spawn's Universe number 1 that also heads into King Spawn number 1, which will be the first new monthly issue number 1 for Spawn in 28 years. In October, Image will release Gunslinger Spawn and then a new team book called The Scorched, which will band 5 characters together. This time around, it will be Spawn, Redeemer, Gunslinger, Medieval Spawn, and She-Spawn. And that brings us to the end of the comic book news this time. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute to the show through Ko-fi, Patreon, or Buy Me a Coffee, check out the show notes or visit the TeePublic store and so much more. Head over to multiversetonight.com, and if you're a subscriber, thank you. Be sure to share it with your friends, and if you're brand new to the show, thank you again, and be sure to subscribe and leave us with some feedback and let me know how we're doing. Now, special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just 2 weeks with a brand new sci-fi and comic book edition. Now, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half-Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2021, all rights reserved. ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of our show for today. I thank you, anybody who's watching this or, on the Twitch or YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Again, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully with brand